Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of Try Hard Racing with me, Roll Cage TV. Well, I continue to do the best I can with what I've got, which is not a lot of talent, but a whole lot of determination. Not really. A whole lot of self-forgiveness. I'm okay with not doing well. not doing well. I'm doing well. I'm not doing good. If you know what I'm saying. I'm an old man. I play how I play. I don't think people watch me. Don't watch me. I'll tell you, I'll warn you right now. Don't watch me if you want lessons on how to play well. There's a reason why this series is called Clown Career. Anyway, I've got the 7th qualifier in. The next goal is to do the 7th actual race. Let's see what the race is like. I might do that daily event first, but let me get info on this. Full circuit, how many laps? How long is the full circuit? I don't know. 3 laps. Okay, let me do it first. And then if there's time, I'll do the weekly event or whatever it is. If there's time in the YouTube episode. Didn't start my timer, of course. I never start my timer on time. And I put too much ice in my soda, and when I went to pour my soda, it dribbled over the edge. Got some Kleenex here I'll have to use. Precious Kleenex. I need that for my allergic nose. I am allergic to my nose. It is true. Usually, after you put the ice in, if it's a little over full, that's okay, because I can, like, shake the glass and get it to rattle to lower, but the ice is all clumped and frozen together. I couldn't settle. Anyway, let's get going. Motorbike setup. Make sure that I have enough fuel. Qualifier was only partial course, so I didn't need a whole thing of fuel. And track map isn't going to help me. Let's just start. Is it a mass start? Oh, thank goodness. The 3rd complaint I have about this game. I have 3. I'm not to the first 2. Again, is it raining? Oh, for goodness sakes. Oh, wait. I have to hit that button. See, I can pass other people for, like, the initial straightaway. Anyway, the other complaint I have, the final complaint, is that I'm an old man. I complain. Goes to the territory. I don't remember. Oh, when it's a sequential start, if you qualify last, like I almost always do, you have to sit there and wait for all 9 people in front of you to go. Now, the earlier version of this game, if you qualify last, you don't have to sit there and wait at the line for like the, 8, 9 or something to go ahead of you. More like 9 to go ahead of you. But here you have to actually wait, watch all 9 people ahead of you go, and it's a 10-second gap between releasing the drivers, or the riders, and so you have to sit there for 90 seconds doing nothing but watching the animation of everyone in front of you. Now, okay, if you want to punish me for qualifying last, and you say, well, if you don't want to wait, just qualify higher. Well, okay. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to make the game harder for people that aren't so good. It's like rich getting richer, poor getting poorer kind of thing. If you do well, you make it's easier for you to do better than if you do poorly. It's harder to do better. If you are concerned about passing people, and I mean this is a racing thing, right? I'm going to expand on that point. If you are good enough to pass people rather than being passed by people, which I'm not, then starting last means you have more people you have to pass. So again, it's harder for you if you finish last than if you finish, if you qualify in the pole position, you get rewarded for that, which which is how it should be. But they shouldn't make you have to wait in a video game for 90 seconds. 90 seconds is a long time in a video game. There's no skip ahead button. Like if you're forced to watch a set piece on a video game, you might have to sit there and watch some animation that progresses the storyline for. It's usually not 90. If it's going to be more than like 15 seconds, then there's usually you need to skip it. Anyway, those are my 3 complaints. The rubber banding is too tight, which I mentioned this in the last YouTube video. If you missed that conversation, go watch the earlier YouTube video. All the YouTube videos are in my TTLMan 3 playlist, which right now is in order of first date published to last date published. So you can watch them through, you can binge watch them. Once there's 100 or so videos in the series, then I flip it around because nobody wants to binge watch 100 videos. They're just going to watch the latest one. Although somebody's been playing through all of my Civilization 6 videos, which kudos to them. I really appreciate it. And they're giving me advice and stuff on some of the earlier things, which I can't do anything about now, but I do appreciate getting the advice, even on an older video. It helps me a lot. Civilization 6 doesn't require a lot of physical skill, so even though I can learn strategy, I can't learn my reflexes to get any higher, or my fine motor control to get any better. So yeah, somebody is, even though I have, how many do I have now? 150 probably videos or more, 200 videos in my, what game am I on? Am I on game 5? I see 1. Yeah, I'm on game 5, so it may be close to 500 videos in my Civilization 6 playlist. Somebody's actually going through them all in order, starting at the end and then going back to the, working their way through the first one. I've often said that I should break those out, like just do a playlist of game 1 and just I could do the same thing here, do a playlist of season 1, a playlist of season 2. That don't require work. I don't want to do work. It's convenient to have them all in one place. And I could put a section up on the YouTube that's, I could add feature list sections. That is, one section of the YouTube is, Isle of Man playthroughs, and then each playlist is a different listing in that section. But I don't want my YouTube page to get too cluttered, because I have a ton of games that I've played that I have playlists of. I gotta make sure I have them all on my home page. Just occurred to me. Do I have this game on? I think I do. I can't. I wish I could look. I have to go. Maybe I can go on my one of my roommates' Xbox to look at my YouTube channel as it appears on the Xbox. I can see what it looks like on the tablet and on the PC. I mean, I can go on the Xbox and look at the PC version, but I can't on the Xbox app for YouTube. I can't see how my channel looks like from as an external person. If I go to my, even though I'm subscribed to my own channel, if I go to my channel, it gives me the internal view. I don't get to see the about page and all that other stuff. It gives me the view that I can edit, which that doesn't help me see what it looks like from the outside. Because how they present channels on that app is a little bit different than how they present them on the web page or in the mobile app as well. Oh. Well, so far I'm doing okay. I apologize about the rain if it's causing undue motion blur on YouTube because of the rain. To be honest, there isn't a lot I can do to improve that. Even if I streamed at a higher quality, I tested it, and you still get the motion blur. What I would need to be able to do is stream at a higher bit rate on the same resolution. And unfortunately, the Xbox app on the Twitch Xbox app took away that ability to set the bit rate independently. You can only do 30 frames per second in 720. You can't do 60 frames per second in 720. And 60 frames per second in 1080, you still see the motion blur because it's twice the frame rate, but also twice the resolution, twice the number of pixels. It's a streaming thing. In fact, these are streaming replays. If you're used to watching people on YouTube streaming it, you know, that produce videos in 4K that are racing videos that look pristine, that's just because they're not streaming them, they're recording them separately to a hard drive. Which, if I got a new hard drive, I could do from the Xbox, but then I would have to edit that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to edit it. I have to download and edit it, either that or use the Xbox editor, which is, you know, not so great. And downloading a 4K video requires more internet Wi-Fi than I've got. So I edit on my tablet. As it is, when I have to do a 720 video because I need the stream crashes or something, I have to download it to piece the two sections together. I can't use the Twitch highlight editor is actually pretty good, and I can export the highlights right to YouTube, so it's convenient for me. I produce content every day. I can't afford to, I would not be able to produce content every day if I didn't just edit the streams, if I had to do professional looking. I don't have a staff here, folks, it's just me. It's about through the first lap. Oh, look at that. Oh, stay upright, bike. If the bike finishes and you're not on it, you still get the time? I mean, I assume not. But let's say you're approaching the finish line and the bike gets away from you, crosses the line, and let's say miraculously you're able to get up and run across the finish line to get back on your bike. Do you get credit for finishing the race while on foot running to get the bike? Because, I mean, you don't get credit in a race for finishing unless you're in your vehicle in general, right? You can't, like, run the race on foot. They would not allow that. It's a motorcycle race. But what happens if the motorcycle crosses the finish line without you on it, and you have to cross the finish line to get on the bike? What do you have to do? You have to... They wouldn't let you race backwards on the course in order to cross the finish line from the right direction. You just DQ, or you just have to do an extra lap? What happens? Does anybody know? And is it different rules for different races? On MotoGP, in MotoGP, if you fall off the bike, and MotoGP is an open, I mean a purpose-built course, so you might actually survive falling off the bike and be able to get up and run to the finish, because you're not gonna like fall off the bike because you hit a wall and fly off a cliff on the other side of the wall. That's, you're probably not going to be able to walk away from that. I've never thought about that question before. What happens in MotoGP? I mean, in a car race, you know, the car is not going to finish the race without you. But a bike might cross the line without you. If anybody knows, watching on Twitch, whisper me the answer with a link. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment with the answer, but you'll have to not leave a clickable link, because I don't think YouTube lets you do that. But you know, you can type out. You can't type out the entire URL or it'll reject the comment, but you can type out the URL without the HTTP part, and I can figure it out. I can still copy paste it into my... Okay, I cannot stop to look at my time because it's in the upper right hand corner. My fourth complaint about the game. I said I was done with complaints about the game. It's not really a complaint, but the time shows up in pretty small lettering and I cannot read. In the upper right hand corner. I could read it if I paused and looked at it, but I don't want to do that. It's rude to pause in a stream when you're broadcasting. I've watched people stream, racing friends of mine. If they're not experienced, they decide to start streaming. You know, they haven't streamed really, and every time they see that there's a chat message come through or Yeah, a chat message comes through. That's what they call it, right? They'll pause the game to look at their chat and read the chat out and respond to the chat with the game pause. Like, no, people don't want to see that. Maybe the one person out of, you know, however many you have watching the stream is okay with it, but you got a dozen people watching you in a racing game. They don't want to see you pausing, let alone 100 people. They don't want to see you pausing the race, interrupting the race to answer one person's question, even if it's not a question, just acknowledge their comment. But if it's a long enough race, I will sometimes have to between laps. Like the final race between laps, if I know people have been chatting, I will have to stop, pause, and check the chat. Because it's like 20 minutes between laps of the final race. And for me, over 20 minutes. Always. But I do fall off enough, as a friend of mine, Chubby Chase, has reminded me, I fall off enough that I don't have to worry about pausing the game to check the chat. I can just look at the chat whenever I fall off. I fall off a lot less now than when I started, but I still cannot beat that 20-minute timer because it's difficult. Although I might try in a different view. People have told me, boy, you play this game in first-person view? You're pretty great. I get disoriented in any driving game playing anything other than first-person view. Chase cam view, I mean, not if I played like, you know, road view or something, but that doesn't help over first person. I don't play pilot cam view if you're on a racing game where, like this, where you have to look through your helmet and stuff like that. But chase cam I can't handle which is something I was talking about snow runners. I'm playing on stream, going to be playing on stream as my initial Sundays, Friday stream. I play it on first person as long as I can, but sometimes you have to go to third person. And the problem is, when the vehicle turns, I get disoriented because you see the side of the vehicle when it turns when you're in chase cam, and so you're not looking directly along the center line of the vehicle, which is what you would need to do if you're actually driving the car. Now, in a motorcycle game, the chase cam view doesn't usually do that. I don't know about this game. Not all games does the chase cam view, because you don't, like, turn the wheel really. You lean. I mean, turn the wheel slightly, but hardly. If you really turn the wheel, you'd fall off. At any kind of speed, that is. So in general, the bike does stay on the center line, and it would probably be easier. So I'll practice that before I actually try it on stream. I'll practice. I won't actually do a qualifier, but I'll practice. See what my time is. My best time so far has been around just under 23 minutes. If I can do a lap in under 20 minutes in practice, then next time I go to qualify, I'll do that, which is going to be coming up pretty soon in this season. So if I'm going to practice it, I'm going to have to practice it soon. But that is the only time I would play in third person, just to qualify for the final race. Just so that I can see any cinematic that they have at the end of the actual race. Because I can play the actual race as a custom race. And they have an option just to actually play TT race, not just play the course, but actually play the race as it would be. But there's no cutscene if you finish that race. Well, only if you finish first or on the podium. And believe me, I'm going to have to just watch somebody's YouTube video to see whatever cutscene there is if you win the race. But I would like to qualify at least once before my 10 seasons are up. Officially qualified. And if I got good enough, I would up the difficulty level. But I don't think I'm going to get good enough to up the difficulty level when I'm finishing last place every time against this difficulty level, which is the lowest one. It's AI. I could adjust like my physics model and my electronics if I want to make the game a little bit more challenging, but still the competition would be the same, but I'd have a more realistic race, so I would fall off more likely. If I get to the point where I'm not falling off pretty much at all, I could go ahead and change those attributes. But changing the difficulty level of the racers, I'm finishing last as it is. That's not going to add anything to the game except more last. It is a great game. If you're not familiar with this game, it's the greatest motorcycle game out there, I think, but it is the hardest motorcycle game out there. It's difficult both because of the difficult course, most difficult course, most dangerous race in motorsports. Well, probably in all motorsports. I don't know if they have, Deathmatch 3000, but in all motorcycle races, most dangerous motorcycle race in history. And like the oldest, been around over 100 years. But yeah, driving on the city streets, you can see there's no runoff or anything. And so it's a more difficult game, not just because you're on a road course, not a purpose-built course. But the game is really very sim-like. You can actually set individual tire pressures in this game. You only have 2 tires, but which is the definition of a sim game, right? Sim racing game. But yeah, the course is more difficult. The bikes are, I would say, a little bit more difficult to handle, but not really based on other racing games. I have the race series. I have 1 year of MotoGP, and those are probably the easiest bikes to handle. That game, MotoGP. The race series has gotten more difficult because sequels always are more difficult. My skill doesn't go up, but the complaints go up for each sequel. The game's too easy, man. So they make them harder. Race 4, which I'm playing now. I don't have the new console, which I would need to play Race 5. Race 4 is more difficult than Race 3 as far as just staying on the bike goes and beating out the competition and stuff too. So this game, again, more difficult than Race 2, but still the greatest motorcycle race, or more difficult than TT Alaman 2, but this course is great, and the physics are great and smooth. But it is difficult. So if you're familiar with motorcycle racing games, and I mean fairly serious ones, not like MX vs ATV, which I was talking about earlier, which I love that game. It's definitely arcadey kind of. It's not a road rash. If you play games that aren't road rash, motorcycle games. I wonder if you can get road rash for a modern console. I loved road rash. Played it on the old Sega Genesis. Been playing video games since video games first appeared in the bowling alleys and the arcade. The pinball arcades and the bowling alleys. I just read a thing or watched a video that bowling is not as popular as it once was. Probably the pandemic really hurt it. I don't know about billiards. I was so into billiards. I haven't heard of it. I imagine billiards also was hit hard with the pandemic. But they're changing bowling. They're changing the pin setters. Rather than the big heavy machines, they're going with cheaper machines that like use strings. So the pins, which I assume are still regulation heavy pins, they have strings attached to them, and they set the pins by just pulling on the strings. Obviously pulling on the strings into some kind of bracket. They don't just pull on the strings and let them fall wherever they may. They pull on the strings into a frame, and then release the tension on the strings somewhat, and they stand up. They did study. I mean, the Professional Bowlers Association approved string pin setters. They did studies and they said, oh no, people think, oh, I can't get as good of a score, but they did studies that show that in general people do, within statistical significance, they do the same. It might just put some people off. I've never been a purist about things, even though I'm an old man. And bowling now, since bowling is not as popular as it once was, the expense of maintaining big, huge, monstrous pin setting machines that break down, and you need to have a full-time mechanic on staff to fix the pin setting machines. Whereas with the string pin setters, just first of all, you're not likely to get crushed by them, as people have died with bowling big, 10-ton, 2-ton, whatever bowling machines, pin setting machines. But you just get someone from the front desk. If something isn't working, they can untangle the strings if they need to, or the maintenance is so much easier. And so, which saves a ton of money on the bowling alley, which allows the bowling alley to stay in business, which allows people to bowl, which they wouldn't be able to bowl otherwise, because they wouldn't be able to find a bowling alley that can afford to stay in business. So it is a good thing overall for the business. And this is America. We got to have bowling alleys. Bowling alleys are more American than pool halls, I think. I think bowling alleys are more Americana, right? I mean, pool hustlers back in the Great Depression are famous. We're famous for our pool hustlers in America, but I'm sure there are bowling hustlers too. But you think of Americana, you don't think of pool hustlers. You think of the bowling league after a day of working on the farm or whatever. I don't know what's Americana. I grew up in the inner city. What do I know about Americana? I would like to. I've often said I would like to drive around America when I retired, but now I play video games instead. Driving across America is expensive. I'm on a fixed income. I can't afford that. I don't have like a massive 401k, and I don't have a billionaire to buy me an RV. So there you go. American joke, folks. Current events joke. But yeah, I've often said my dad had done that for a while after he retired. But yeah, I mean, he eventually settled down. I think sold the RV, and then eventually was no more. He's driving his RV in heaven. I'm suspicious about the existence of heaven, but I think you wouldn't be if heaven's supposed to be paradise, you're probably not, in your 60s driving an RV, unless that's your idea of heaven, I suppose. I think I have driven around, like I live in Minnesota, I live in the city, I have driven around places in Minnesota. I never visited, I'm so close, I've never visited Mount Rushmore, believe it or not, at my age. I mean, relatively close. This is America, so it's still a long ways away, but South Dakota is a bordering state. Never been to other places out west, Yosemite and stuff like that. Yellowstone. But yes, I've driven around Minnesota, driven around other states too. I used to travel a lot for work, and if the travel was within a reasonable amount of driving time, by reasonable like 5 hours or something, I mean, I love to drive. If it's less than an 8-hour day's worth of driving time, I suppose I would prefer to drive it than take a plane. So I drove around a lot. And I took the occasional vacation and stuff. Like I said, I've driven around Minnesota. I didn't always live, I grew up in a different state, but I've been in Minnesota well over half of my adult life, most of my adult life. So I guess I should know a little bit about Americana, driving around. Well, I'm driven around the Dakotas and Iowa and Wisconsin, obviously, very close to me, and Missouri. Knew some people in St. Louis. So. And took vacation, drove around. It was a working vacation in Louisiana a little bit, but that was not out in the Americana. That was out in the city, New Orleans area. But yes, the company I worked for did software for the trucking industry. So I know a little bit about trucks, playing SnowRunner, not just from playing SnowRunner. And they don't put trucking companies usually in big cities. I mean, they do. But a lot of trucking companies are not. Their depots and so their dispatch areas are not in the big cities. They're out, either out in the exurbs or actually out in the countryside. But, you know, you don't get to see a lot when you're working in one year. Sometimes it's cheaper if you need to fly somewhere. It's cheaper to go across a weekend. So if I had a training day, I did training. If you have a training day during the week, Monday through Friday, it's cheaper to fly out on Friday or fly back on a Monday, and then you've got the weekend to drive around a little bit if you rent a car. Which, of course, you're going to rent a car because it's not like you're going to take the bus if you're out in the country, take public transportation, and you don't ask a client to pick you up. So you rent a car, you can get unlimited mileage, you can drive around on the weekend. So I've done that a few times. Love to drive. Don't drive much anymore. Being an old man, retired and all, but I've not checked my... there we go. Can check my comments now. You commented a long time ago and I scrolled back. I apologize. This I've got two tablets going. I've got split screens on both of them, and the tablet version of that's not a lot of room. A split screen of with the chat monitor. And I can't make the text smaller. I wouldn't be able to read it anyway. To fit more on it. And they added not too long ago, 6 months or more, within the last year, they added, for your convenience, they added a bunch of buttons to the screen. And for your convenience, it makes the chat even fewer lines to fit on the screen for your inconvenience. So if I don't check the chat in a while, sometimes it'll go off the screen. I won't see it. Channel points. I have the channel points turned down to the point where if you're on YouTube, you're not familiar with Twitch environment. You watch a stream, you gain channel points, and you use those channel points to redeem them for things. And one of the things you can redeem them for is a highlighted comment, and those I can usually see out of the corner of my eye. And I have my channel point. You can set the channel point prices. I have them all turned down to the minimum, or basically the minimum. They're rounded off. If the minimum is 85, I might have it rounded off to 100 or something. And you get follower emotes now. One of the things about the advantage of the channel points is you could use the emotes, the subscriber emotes. You could pick one for a few more channel points, and you just have one assigned at random. But now there are follower emotes. You don't need to channel points to get to use an emote. They call them emotes on Twitch, not emojis. Custom. You make custom ones. Ah, a little jump. It's difficult. Whoa! Yeah. Made it. I'm okay. I am a lot better than when I first started this game, even though you may not believe it. When I first started playing this game, the first day I got it, I think, I played a few laps. I don't know how many, a handful of laps. Around a 10-mile course, I fell off 10 times on average. I mean, I fell off a lot more in places, but less than others. So, yeah, I'm a little bit better than that now. I was out of practice coming into this stream. I haven't streamed the game in a long time and only practiced it once, but I got practice up. I got loosened up pretty quickly. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the stream or not, but somebody had whispered me wanting to play some games maybe, and probably a kid, I don't know, maybe just a fishing expedition, I don't know. What do they call it? Honey pot? I don't know. Anyway, maybe a scam, but seemed legit. And tell them I don't play games that are not streaming. Sorry, I'm not gonna have somebody on stream that I don't know. It's hard when you're young and you don't, because they gave me their Discord ID, which is why it might be more legit. And it's hard when you're young to find people to play games with. You play a certain game, you know, maybe there isn't as big of an audience for that. You watch a streamer play it. It's like, well, would you be interested in playing multiplayer on this game? Because I don't know anybody else. None of my other friends play this game. And this is 2023. I only have 5 people that I know anyway, because I'm been schooled at home for since the pandemic started. Well, how did I do? Let's not look at the gap. See what I mean? Out of 36-minute race, 35 to 36-minute race, the rubber banding, the 9th place player was within a minute, almost within a minute. So 1/36 of the race. What is that? That's, oh, I'm going to try to do math in my head now. What percentage is 1/36? Or what fraction even is it? It's small. It's a small percentage. Yeah, let's I got a little bit of time. Let's do that. Let's look at that challenge at least. Almost to 74. I still get reward points for that. Upgrade reward points and experience points, believe it or not. And again, I got to get rid of the rain. Time weather. Overcast. Overcast is good. No eye glare. Oh boy! Next, within this stream, I'll be working on probably not. I won't be doing the race as well, but one of the last qualifiers. 8 of 8 racers, and then on to the official qualifier, which I'm going to actually look at this, see what, I'm not going to do it now, but see what to anticipate. No laps. Oh yeah, it's a thing. It's a full circuit. I don't know how long that is, but that I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that and a race in one episode. Probably not. So let's see. Here's this challenge. A lot of these other challenges I've never even attempted. $3 days, so I should do this either this during this stream sometime, either this YouTube episode or the next. 1 lap. Yeah, it's a whole lap. I don't think I'm gonna have time to do this. I don't know how long this course is. Southeast course. Actually, I can look that up. Oh, I have another way of looking it up. Where was it? I can look at the leaderboard here. Best lap. Oh, see, best lap. So that would be, if I did a practice and a thing, that would be, if you look at the bottom here, like 40 minutes. So no, I'm not going to have time to do that. I will do that perhaps next session, or perhaps not. And this is the one I just did, right? That's the one I just did. I am the leaderboard. Yes. Oh, and I'm already down in 3rd place. I was in 2nd place just a little bit ago. We're not going to look at my time there. I could do that again. Well, it's been over 50 minutes, so I'll just call the episode here, I guess. I like to keep them between 45 minutes and an hour, but the racing videos, a lot of times, these videos end up, TT videos end up going over an hour. But not an hour and 40 minutes, or an hour and a half. That'd be a little bit long. So I'm going to call it here and then come back. And if you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to take a short break here, a couple minutes or so. Throw up the BRB screen. If you're watching on YouTube, then that's going to be it for this episode. Next episode will be out the next weekend day at 6 p.m. I'm not sure if this is coming out on a Saturday or Sunday. TT Alaman 3 playlist. You can watch everything. If the VOD is gone on Twitch and you want to catch up on some stuff, you can go to my YouTube channel. XGlamYT and Twitch chat. We'll give you a link to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, you want to go to the Twitch channel. The link is in the description. Or you can just type the URL that's in the lower left corner of your screen. But who types URLs anymore? Go to my About page. Get a link there. All right, folks. Twitch, I'll see you in a couple minutes. YouTube, I'll see you in the next episode. Either way, I will see you then.